welcome to the deep dive. Have you ever paused to think about the secure systems, often kind of hidden, that keep powerful medications safe? Inside our hospitals and clinics, it's a foundational part of patient safety we rarely consider, but it's absolutely vital.
It really is.
So today we're sort of peeling back the layers on maybe a seemingly niche but incredibly important piece of our global healthcare puzzle. We're talking about the global controlled drug cabinets market.
That's right. And these aren't just, glorified safes or anything. We're talking about pretty sophisticated storage and tracking systems. They're designed to prevent theft or misuse of highly regulated stuff like opioids.
Yep.
They ensure precise inventory management and, ultimately safeguard patient well-being. It's essential hidden infrastructure, really.
So our mission today is basically to uncover the surprising scale and the dynamic growth of this market. We want to explore its unique regional trends, too. And we're pulling all our insights directly from expert research. It's the Global Controlled Drug Cabinets Market Growth Forecasts to 2033 report. That's from Cognitive Market Research.
And when you look at the global picture, the numbers themselves, they tell a pretty compelling story. It's about increasing vigilance, investment.
Yeah.
Well, the market was valued at nearly $700 million. That was back in 2021.
Almost $700 million. Okay.
And it's projected to hit over $930 million by 2025. So quite a jump already.
And here's where it gets really interesting, I think. By 2033, it's expected to surge to, an incredible $1.67 billion.
Billion, yeah.
That's a robust compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, of 7.55% over that period. That's serious growth for something that, operates so discreetly within our healthcare systems.
It absolutely is. It clearly signals a universal and growing demand for better security and accountability in medication management all around the world.
So let's unpack this a bit. Let's explore how this growth is playing out across different regions, maybe starting with North America. What's the snapshot look like there?
Okay, North America, it's what you'd call a mature market, but still dynamic. It was valued around $276 million in 2021.
Right.
And it's projected to reach over $620 million by 2033. So it's growing at a pretty solid 7% CAGR.
And within North America, I assume the United States is the dominant force. What's this trajectory look like?
Oh, absolutely. The U.S. market, which was nearly, $190 million in 2021, it's forecasted to more than double. We're looking at over $400 million by 2033.
Wow.
And Canada also shows strong growth. It's projected to more than double its market size by 2033 as well, reaching over $155 million.
Okay, so strong growth in the U.S. and Canada.
Yeah.
But if we look closer at North America, you mentioned Mexico really captures attention.
Yes, exactly. Mexico's market, it's smaller in absolute terms, sure. But it's projected to almost triple in size between 2021 and 2033. It shows the highest regional CGR, actually at over 8.8%.
8.8%, that's significant. What do you think is driving that accelerated pace there?
Yeah, that really stands out, doesn't it? This exceptional growth in Mexico, it likely reflects a big push for modernizing healthcare infrastructure.
Okay.
Maybe combined with new or, stricter regulatory frameworks around controlled substances. It really suggests a focused effort to sort of elevate healthcare security standards in Mexico.
Interesting. Okay, so from the Americas, let's pivot across the Atlantic. Europe, it's got diverse national healthcare systems. How does its trajectory compare? Are there any maybe unexpected drivers or laggards there?
Sure. Europe represents a substantial market, too. Started around $196 million in 2021. Projected to reach over $450 million by 2033. That's a healthy 7.2% CAGR. So, pretty solid.
And who's leading the pack in Europe?
Well, the United Kingdom is a key leader here. Its market size is expected to more than double. We're looking at nearly $100 million by 2033.
Okay.
Germany also shows strong performance, projected to grow to almost $88 million.
Right. And beyond those sort of established players, were there other notable contributors in Europe?
Oh, yeah. France is on track to reach over $56 million. Then you've got countries like Italy, Russia, Spain, Sweden. They all show consistent growth, generally between, say, 5.5% and 6.5% annually.
Steady growth across the board then.
Pretty much. Even smaller markets like Denmark, Switzerland, Luxembourg, they're showing steady incremental growth. It indicates a really broad-based investment across the continent.
Okay.
Oh, and the rest of Europe combined is also growing strongly, projected to more than double its market size by 2033, too.
Got it. So while Europe shows solid, steady growth, Let's talk about the Asia-Pacific region. The report suggests this area is, well, truly booming when it comes to these cabinets.
Absolutely. Booming is the right word, yeah. The APAC market started around $135 million in 21, projected to surge.
This audio was created with Podcastle.ai.
Started around $135 million in 21, projected to surge to over $370 million by 2033. And that's boasting an exceptionally strong 8.8% CGR.
8.8%, wow.
Yeah, this signals really rapid expansion, probably driven by several factors, healthcare investment, growing middle class, tighter regulations.
And China's obviously a massive part of that picture, right? Its market's projected to triple.
That's right. From about $50 million to over $150 million. That's a 9.5% CGR for China.
9.5.
Which is, one of the highest among the major global economies. Significant growth, obviously, due to its vast population and, ongoing healthcare reforms.
Makes sense.
However, India really stands out within the region.
Okay, how so?
Well, its market is projected to more than triple from 2021 to 2033. It's soaring from around $14.5 million to nearly $49 million.
$49 million from 14.5.
Yeah, and get this, it boasts the highest regional CGR at over 10.6%.
Over 10.5%. That's a remarkable acceleration. What's behind that, do you think?
It likely stems from a combination of things. Expanding healthcare access, for sure. Increasing medical tourism is a factor in India. And just a rising focus on regulatory compliance.
Right, getting those standards up.
Exactly.
So beyond those two giants, China and India, what other economies are making significant contributions in APAC?
Well, Japan and South Korea are definitely key contributors. Japan's forecasted to hit over $64 million. South Korea over $44 million by 2033.
Okay.
And then you have Australia, Singapore, Taiwan. They're also seeing steady growth. It really highlights a region-wide commitment to secure medication management. Taiwan, for instance, expected to reach nearly $11 million.
Got it. Okay, let's journey south now, South America. What's the story there for controlled drug cabinets?
South America's market is expanding significantly, too. It's going from around $39 million in 2021 up to almost $97 million in 2033. That's a 7.78% CAGR.
So solid growth there as well. And who's leading? Brazil?
Yeah, Brazil leads the region. Its revenues are projected to more than double, hitting over $44 million by 2033.
Okay. And are there any emerging contributors in South America showing particularly strong momentum, like we saw with Mexico?
Yes, actually. While you have, Argentina, Peru, Chile all contributing, Colombia shows truly standout growth.
Colombia, okay.
Yeah, it's projected to almost triple its market size from 2021 to 2033. It's got a really robust 9.3% CAGR.
9.3%, another high one.
Right. So that suggests, again, focused investment in healthcare infrastructure, maybe a tightening of drug security protocols, specifically in Colombia.
Very interesting. All right, moving on to the Middle East now. How's that market shaping up for these critical cabinets?
The Middle East market is rising steadily from around $29 million in 2021, projected to over $75 million by 2033. That marks an 8.16% CAGR.
8.16. Strong. Who's leading there?
Saudi Arabia is leading the region. Its market's expected to almost triple.
Triple again. Wow.
Yeah, from over $11 million to over $31 million. And that boasts an 8.8% CAGR, similar to Mexico, actually.
Okay. Are there other nations in the Middle East showing solid progress in this area, too?
Indeed. Countries like Turkey, the UAE, Egypt, Qatar, they're all showing solid progress. The UAE is projected to reach nearly $13 million, Egypt over $8 million by 2033.
Okay.
It reflects a region that's increasingly investing in advanced healthcare facilities and, importantly, security. Qatar, for instance, growing at about 6.1% CAGR.
Right. And finally, let's turn our attention to Africa, a continent often associated with, emerging healthcare infrastructure. What does the growth in controlled drug cabinets here tell us about its healthcare evolution? Are there particular countries leading this charge?
Africa definitely presents an expanding market. It started at nearly $21 million in 2021,
Okay.
and it's anticipated to reach over $50 million by 2033. That's a 7.11% CAGR overall. So again, saw growth. Nigeria's market, for example, is projected to more than double, hitting over $14 million.
14 million in Nigeria. And what about South Africa, another key player on the continent?
South Africa is forecasted to hit over $17 million. So it demonstrates consistent investment in its healthcare systems.
Nice.
And interestingly, the rest of Africa collectively also shows strong growth. It's projected to more than double its market size by 2033, too. So that indicates a widespread, even if maybe varied, commitment to improving healthcare security across the continent.
Okay, so we've covered the globe. What does this all mean for us? When we sort of step back, what are the big picture insights from this deep dive into the global controlled drug cabinets market?
Well, the big picture is, I think, undeniably clear. These controlled drug cabinets, they are an absolutely critical, even if they're often unseen, component of global healthcare infrastructure.
Right.
Absolutely. Their growth, it directly correlates with efforts to enhance patient safety and, crucially, prevent medication diversion worldwide.
And what truly stands out to me is the consistent and significant growth across every single region we've analyzed. This isn't just, a North American or European thing. It's a clear indicator of a universal need and increasing investment in secure medication storage, literally around the globe.
And that leads to a crucial insight, I think. Those particularly high CAGRs we saw, in places like India, Mexico, Colombia, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
They aren't random. They signal underlying trends. Things like rapid healthcare expansion, the implementation of new or stricter regulations governing controlled substances, and just significant economic development pushing these investments forward in those specific regions.
So it's really a foundational piece.
It really is. A foundational piece of building a safer global healthcare system.
Yeah, it makes sense. This deep dive into, what seems like a single specialized market, it really reveals how interconnected global healthcare truly is. It makes you wonder, what other seemingly niche industries do you think are quietly forming the backbone of essential services around the world? And, what might their growth patterns tell us about future global priorities? Ever stop and think about what happens behind the scenes? With the medications hospitals and pharmacies use, how are they actually kept secure? It's maybe more complex and way more important than you might guess.
Look.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into something called the controlled drug cabinets market. Sounds a bit dry, maybe? But stick with us. It's actually a critical piece of healthcare security, efficiency, and, patient safety. We've looked at some sources covering
This audio was created with podcastle.ai.
And, patient safety. We've looked at some sources covering the dynamics, the challenges, and what's coming next.
Right. And our mission today for you is basically to unpack all of that. We want to look at the key things driving this market forward, but also the big roadblocks, the restraints, and then touch on some really interesting new trends. So by the end, you'll get not just what's happening, but really why it's so important.
Okay, let's unpack it then. So what's the main engine behind the demand for these high-tech cabinets? Where does it start?
Well, the absolute foundation, the first thing you have to talk about is regulatory compliance. You've got bodies like the DEA here in the U.S. Demanding incredibly strict controls over these substances. Okay. And if you don't comply, the consequences are severe. We're talking huge fines, maybe even losing your license to operate. So these cabinets, they're not optional extras. They're non-negotiable for hospitals, clinics, pharmacies.
Makes total sense. And I guess that pressure connects to bigger issues too, right? Like, isn't it tied into the whole opioid crisis we hear so much about?
Absolutely, directly linked. It's fascinating, actually. These systems are really on the front lines of preventing drug diversion, specifically internal theft within healthcare facilities.
Okay, internal theft.
Exactly. The opioid crisis just threw a massive spotlight on how crucial tight controls are. So these cabinets, with their electronic logs, their audit trails, they boost accountability massively. They help stop theft and protect public health.
So it's security stopping theft.
Yeah.
But is there also a patient care angle, like making sure the right medicine gets to the right person?
Precisely. They aren't just secure boxes. These automated cabinets, they talk to the hospital's other systems, the electronic health records, the pharmacy system.
The integration piece.
Right. And that integration means much more accurate dispensing. It cuts down on human error, supports the clinical workflow. It's directly helping meet goals, like from the WHO, to prevent bad drug reactions and improve patient outcomes. It's about safety and precision.
Okay, so strong drivers.
Yep.
But it can't all be smooth sailing. What are the main sticking points? The challenges.
Yeah, there are definitely hurdles. Probably the biggest one often is just the upfront cost, the high initial investment.
How high are we talking?
Well, it varies, but for the advanced automated systems, you could be looking at tens, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. For smaller places, tight budgets, that's a huge barrier.
Yeah.
Sometimes just too much.
Wow. Okay. And even if you find the money, it's not just plug it in and go, is it? I imagine getting it to work with all the existing hospital IT, that sounds tricky.
You hit it right there. That's a major hurdle. Complex IT integration. These cabinets have to seamlessly connect with existing EHR's pharmacy systems.
So you need special skills.
Definitely. It takes time, skilled IT staff, and honestly, it can disrupt workflows, at least temporarily, while everyone gets set up and trained. It's a significant undertaking.
Which leads to the people side, right? Going from, say, manual logs to a fully automated system.
Yeah.
That's a big change for staff. Training must be involved.
It absolutely is. You have to retrain staff, sometimes redesign how things have always been done. That can naturally lead to some resistance to change, maybe some temporary slowdowns while people adapt. It's a human factor, for sure.
Now let's shift to the future. This is where it gets really interesting, I think. What emerging trends are shaking things up? I hear we're moving beyond just keys and codes.
That's right. Biometrics are becoming huge. Think fingerprint scanners, even palm vein recognition, much higher security, and the audit trail becomes undeniable. You know exactly who accessed what, when.
And that points to something bigger, doesn't it? These cabinets aren't just storage anymore. Are they getting smarter?
Exactly. They're becoming data-driven security tools. Think AI and analytics being used for, like, proactive diversion detection.
How does that work?
Well, the software can analyze access patterns. It looks for anomalies, maybe one nurse accessing a specific drug way more often than their peers or at odd times. It flags things early, allowing intervention before a small issue becomes a big problem.
That's a pretty big leap. Okay, and one more trend. You mentioned something about decentralization. Point of care, what's that about?
Yeah, instead of just one giant pharmacy cabinet, the trend is to put smaller automated cabinets right where they're needed most, like in the ER or in surgical units.
So faster access in emergencies.
Precisely. Gets medication to clinicians quicker when time is critical, but you still maintain all those tight controls and inventory tracking. It's about bringing security and efficiency right to the bedside, essentially. So to kind of wrap it up, what we're seeing is a market really being shaped by these critical regulatory needs, serious patient safety concerns, and just the overall digitization of healthcare. But, balanced against real challenges like cost and the complexity of integration.
It really is incredible how these seemingly simple cabinets play such a massive role in patient outcomes and where healthcare is going. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? As tech keeps pushing forward, what other, maybe unexpected parts of our healthcare infrastructure are being quietly transformed right now, making things safer and better without us even noticing?
This audio was created with Podcastle.ai